Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney. Last time, we beat the second game, so it is time to go on to the final game in the trilogy. Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, Trial and Tribulations.
E.T.
What, Mia?
Yep, Turnabout Memories. This takes place, I think, 5 years before the first ever case.
Oh, we get a little prequel thing.
Yeah.
This will be cool. Turnabout Memories.
And if I remember correctly, this one doesn't hold any punches back.
How did I get into this mess? Wait, who's that?
Someone's dead.
Why? Why did I do that? Phoenix.
Yep. That girl. You shouldn't see her anymore.
Hey, it's none of your business.
I'm telling you for your sake. If you continue to see her, it's going to be bad news.
You're lying!
Just listen to me. There's something you need to know about her, but about that girl.
She's a spirit medium? Stop it! Don't talk about her like that! Whoa!
Damn it, Phoenix, all killing people again.
It wasn't me! I didn't do it! So our first trial, we're Mia defending Phoenix?
5 years earlier.
Oh.
Damn, I'm good. It's her second ever trial.
April 11th,
So she's still a little rusty.
Okay, so I guess we're gonna get to see what Mia was like when she was in Phoenix's position.
Yep. Phew, it's finally time. I'm kind of nervous.
I think this is like... Oh, never mind. We played as Maya for a brief moment in the previous game. But this is the first time we're not playing as Phoenix going into a trial.
Yes, that is true. Ahem.
Oh, is this gonna be Grossberg?
Yeah!
Grossberg! Hey, how are you?
You want to take Grossberg?
I can't. You were him last time, but if you want me to do it.
Oh yeah, you can go right ahead and take him. Because there's going to be a lot of, not a lot of voices for you. Let's just say that.
Oh, all right.
Oh, Mr. Grossberg, good morning.
Oh, Mia, please calm yourself down. You're going to get yourself arrested for suspicious behavior, you know.
What are you talking about? I am relaxed, Mr. Grossberg. Look at me, I'm relaxed.
Let's go off my lapels. You obviously haven't got the temperament to be a lawyer.
I'm so sorry. It's just that I'm so nervous today.
Oh, that's right. This is your first time in the big leagues, isn't it? Well, never you fear, my dear. I, Marvin Grossberg, am at your service.
Good to see Grossberg. You know, we haven't seen him in the second game.
That's true.
Actually, this is my second time in court.
Still, you surprised me. What with your earnest request last night. Let me handle this case, you suddenly said. And quite forcefully, too.
I just found out yesterday. About the case, I mean.
What? And you've already learned all the relative facts?
Well, about that, you see... I mean, of course I have, I think.
Oh dear. In any case, don't let our client see you so nervous. You see that poor young man in the pink sweater over there? That's our client.
Phoenix. Good morning there, everybody.
2019 Phoenix right here.
Teenage Phoenix, huh?
Teenage Phoenix. Good morning. Try to keep smiling, Mia.
I just want to say, I'll give it all I've got to. I'll give it all I've got. Yup, it'll be fine. No problem.
Oh, what's wrong? Do you have a cold or something, Mr. Rye?
Actually, it's Wright. Like the Flying Brothers. People screw it up all the time. And yes, I have a cold. That's what this mask is for. My doc says this way, I won't give it to anyone else. Be kind to others, he says.
Be like Phoenix, everybody. Right, Mr. Wright. Right, Mr. Wright. You have nothing to fear in court today. If you are truly innocent, I promise I will save you.
Please let go of my shirt.
That's right. He's the one on trial, not you. He's the one that should be nervous. You need to stay strong for your client, Mia. My name is Mia Fey. I'm still pretty new at this lawyer thing. First time I appeared in court was a year ago. But that trial traumatized me so badly, I thought I'd never set foot in another courtroom. It's been 1 year since then, and well, here I am again. But this time I'm going to win. For my client, and for myself.
I want to check something real fast. Alright. Phoenix is 21?
21?
Huh. Okay, so he's a third year student at Ivy University. Okay.
Ivy University.
So only 2 years after this, he becomes a lawyer. I think.
Yes.
Was it 2
this
or 3?
This was 5 years.
Oh no, wait, 3.
To...
I miscounted. He was 24 in the first game.
Okay, yeah, it was 3 years, so it makes sense.
Court is now in session for the trial of Phoenix Wright.
The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. He has hair.
What is that hairstyle called? I know what that's called, but oh, it's pompadour. I think is that it?
Maybe.
Dude's
I think
got
it is.
a
That's the
pompadour.
one.
He lost it in 3 years.
I mean, you know what? Like, to be fair, my hair is thinning. I'm never going to let it just go down. I'm going down in style. Like, I'm just going to shave it bald if it ever gets that bad.
You know, we've got the products to make hair grow back.
I think I could. I think I could make bald work.
Well, don't give up already.
Mr. Payne's yee ass haircut, says Big Master.
Yee ass haircut.
Yee ass haircut.
The defense today is Miss Mia Fey, was it?
Yes, Your Honor. Is there a problem?
I was under the impression that Marvin Grossberg was going to be leading the defense.
Yes. Well, you see, Mr. Grossberg had a bit of an emergency.
Emergency? But isn't that him standing right there next to you?
Yes, well...
You're just a rookie. Are you sure you can really handle this?
Let him see you... don't let him scare you, Mia. Give him your toughest look. Of course, Your Honor. I think.
Well, Mr. Payne, your opening statement, please.
Well. He's messing with it, too.
Oh my god, every Phoenix Wright game gives me a new way to just not take this guy seriously.
I can't believe a veteran like me has to spend his time babysitting a new defense lawyer. Don't worry, little girl. It will all be over soon. What was that all about? Is he trying to trash talk me? Now then, I'd like to proceed with a summary of events on the day in question. The incident occurred on the campus of Ivy University. Hey, apparently we're featured on DLive homepage.
Sweet! Yay! Thank you, DLive.
Their victim was a student named Doug Swallow.
Doug Swallow.
If you know what I mean.
I'm gonna ignore that one.
He was a fourth-year student studying pharmacology.
Sounds like he was a very bright young man.
Yes, well, next we have a photo taken at the scene of the crime. Students discovered the scene shortly after the murder. They found the victim's body. And the defendant, who had obviously bungled his getaway. They then called the police.
That certainly makes the defendant look very suspicious indeed. Very well. The court accepts this photo into the record as evidence.
I'm photo 1.
By the way, I can't quite tell the cause of death from this photo.
Your reputation for sageacy is well earned, Your Honor. His ass. The truth is that this victim died a rather unusual death. An unusual death?
What do you mean, Mr. Payne?
Well, perhaps the defense would like to take this question. He's going to ask us how he died. A simple question. I thought I might loosen you up a bit. I'm a genteel man, if you will. A what?
He's into really young girls.
Mia, run!
Nothing illegal, of course.
Stand up to him, Mia. Show him what you're made of.
Ah, a perfect opportunity. Well, what was it? The cause? Go on.
You have to check the cause of death. You should know this.
Oh, do we
by
have
now.
okay, we have an autopsy report. Cause of death was a fatal electric shock.
Damn.
Oof.
Please say you know at least that much.
I'm so sorry. I didn't get a chance to read through the whole file.
Oh, my hemorrhoids are beginning to act up. Now see here. The details of this case are filed under the court record. But you knew that already, didn't you?
What record? I think I could see that by pressing tab.
All of the weapons we need can be found in the court record. Take a good hard look at the data and think carefully before you answer, my dear.
Yes, sir. I'll do just that. I've got to stay calm. I can't let that prosecutor get the better of me. Court record. Okay, let's take a look. I just pressed tab here.
You're welcome.
Now then, would the attorney for the defense please answer the question? What was the cause of death?
Electrocution.
According to the court record, it was a fatal electric shock. In other words, electrocution.
Electrocution? But how could such a thing happen? Did the murderer use some type of new super powerful stun gun, perhaps?
Answer to that will become crystal clear as this trial proceeds, Your Honor.
You know it's actually really easy to die from a regular stun gun?
I bet.
Yeah, it's like if they hit you in the wrong place, like it could like shock your heart and kill you.
Yeah, when my dad was a cop, he did not use tasers.
Probably for the better.
Before that, there is one more vital issue. What's that? Why, of course. Apparently, there was some bad blood between the victim and the defendant.
Was it over a chick? I swear to God if it was over a chick.
Bad blood.
What do you mean? See, I'm terribly sorry. You're the defense attorney, so you must know all about it. I shouldn't be stealing your spotlight like this. I really don't like this guy's smug attitude.
That's Winston Payne for you. He's one smooth operator, if you catch my drift. They don't call him the rookie killer for nothing, you know.
Yeah, that was his title 5 years ago.
Wow.
The rookie killer.
Now then, let's hear from the defense. What was the source of bad blood between the victim and the defendant?
See if we can find it.
Let's take a look at the profiles.
Okay. Okay, Marvin Grossberg's 61 in this. Phoenix. My client, 3rd year. He's currently has a cold. He was a 4th year pharmacology student, Ivy University. Delia?
Delia. I think it's. I've
Phoenix.
always read it as Delilah.
I knew it. I knew it. It was a chick. They had
It's
bad
a
blood
chick.
because of this chick. Phoenix Wright's girlfriend dated the victim, Doug Swallow, up until 8 months ago. And this guy, the prosecutor for this trial, a veteran lawyer with a little too much confidence.
Look at that smug grin.
How much you want to bet he's going to rip his pompadour out by the end of this trial after we embarrass the crap out of him? Ooh, I'm looking forward to that. All right, so this bitch, this is why they had bad blood.
Dahlia. Okay, Wolfo was saying it's pronounced Dahlia.
Huh?
Her name is Dahlia.
Okay, Dahlia. Fair enough.
Dahlia Hawthorne.
And this time, I would like to see some supporting evidence.
Evidence?
Oh, no need to get all worked up over this. As I said, all our weapons can be found in the court record. Find the evidence you need, and then shove it in old Greybeard's face.
Yes, sir. Into old Greybeard's face.
Mr. Grossberg, I hope you're not talking about me. Mr. Grossberg, try to set a better example for the young lady. Mia, evidence isn't the only thing in the court record. People's profiles are as well. You can toggle between profiles and evidence with Tab, so be sure to go over it all. Now then, let's see what you've got. What was the cause of bad blood between Phoenix Wright and the victim?
Girl, Your Honor.
What the hell?
The reason for
What's that voice? Seriously, that
That
sounds
was,
like it should be
Mia's-
Maya.
that was Mia's take that. The reason for the bad blood between the two of them was this woman here.
Honestly, like the only like objection take that actually kind of fit the character was Edgeworth. The rest of them are just literally like, what the fuck? Why did they just grab someone off the street?
No, I kind of liked Von Karma's.
I didn't. I thought it
It's
got
like a-
old really fast.
Well, he threw that thing out like it was candy.
Still, I thought it got old.
Dahlia Hawthorne. Dahlia Hawthorne, is it?
Very good, Miss Faye. You seem to pick up on at least this much. This woman is the girlfriend of the defendant, Phoenix Wright. But up until about 8 months ago, she was with the victim, Mr. Swallow. Clearly, she has some part to play in this story.
Oh, he's done it again! Before the cross-examination starts, he's already got the judge thinking like he wants! Very well, Mr. Payne. Call your first witness.
it pleases the court, the prosecution would like to call Mr. Phoenix Wright.
What? The defendant himself? Well, Miss Faye?
It's fine. After all, Mr. Wright is innocent, right? Defense has no objection.
Very well. The court calls Mr. Phoenix Wright to the witness stand.
There's something really
Witness.
silly about that.
Witness, please state your name and occupation.
Oh, yes. My name is Phoenix Wright. My job is, well, right now, I guess I'm a suspect.
No, he means what did you do before you were arrested?
Oh! I was a university student.
Mr. Wright, you understand that you're suspected in the death of...
But I didn't do it! I'm innocent, I tell you! I'm telling you, I was...
Would the defendant please refrain from passing on his cold to the rest of us?
The witness has something he wants to say.
Well then, Mr. Wright. Please tell us about your relation to the victim.
Right away, Your Honor. I admit I was there. But I'm not a killer! And all I did was find a body. I hardly knew the guy to begin with. I never even talked to that stuck-up British wannabe. Dude had a fake British accent.
I guess.
I see. So you hardly knew the victim.
Right. Like I said, I'm not a killer.
Whew. Looks like the judge understands.
You're being naive, you know that? Too naive.
Huh? It seems that you've forgotten one small thing, young lady. And that would be... This witness still has to undergo something called cross-examination. Cross-examination?
He's right. And it's the defense's duty to carry out the cross-examination. The purpose is to determine if a witness's testimony contains any contradictions.
Contradictions?
If a witness is lying, their statement will conflict with the court record.
But Mr. Wright is my client.
Even if he is your client, in court all lies must be struck.
Or struck down.
As a lawyer, that is your duty, you see.
What does he mean by that? Is he saying that testimony just now? That there was a lie? A contradiction?
Now then, your cross-examination, if you please, Miss Faye.
Please, Mr. Wright, tell me you haven't been lying. You wouldn't do that to me, would you? The victim and I.
All right. I admit I was there.
When you say there, you mean that the place where the victim was murdered?
Yeah, sorta. That place where something happened anyway.
Something? You can't hide what happened. We have photographic evidence. Anyway, Mr. Wright, what were you doing at the scene of the crime? I thought you said you didn't know the victim, Mr. Swallow.
It was just a coincidence. We bumped into each other by accident.
A coincidence, huh?
All I did was find his body.
You say you found the body, So who called the police?
Huh?
Fortunately, it was some other student that notified the police.
Other student.
That's correct. They were witnesses. Witnesses who saw the defendant standing there, next to the body, in shock.
This is not looking good. What? Is this true, Mr. Wright?
Stop sneezing every time you're in a bind.
Well, it's true. I was pretty shocked when I found the body. But I hardly knew the guy to begin with.
Oh, you didn't know his face, or even his name, right?
Right. Well, no. That is, I mean...
So, which is it? Did you know him or not?
Now see here, you can't avoid answering questions. You can't avoid answering the question by sneezing all day.
Well, I guess I did know his name.
News to me. Why didn't he tell me that before?
I heard he used to date Dolly.
Who is this Dolly person?
Yes, that would be the defendant's lover, Miss Dahlia Hawthorne.
Oh, I see. Ah, young love, so bittersweet.
But that's all I knew about him. British wannabe.
Mr. Wright, you stated the following in your testimony. I hardly knew the guy to begin with.
That's right. I mean, why would I even...
But that doesn't sound right. If you hardly knew him, then why would you say that the victim was a stuck-up British wannabe? Well, Mr. Wright?
No, it wasn't me. I'm not a killer, I swear.
Mr. Wright, I will give you an opportunity to revise your testimony. How is it that you knew the victim, as you put it, a British wannabe?
Yes, well... He was always walking around with a huge Union jacket on the back of his shirt.
You see it at the crime scene? The Union Jack, I mean.
Yes, that's right. I saw it at the crime scene. That's why I figured he must love British stuff, see? It's true, cross my heart. I swear, I didn't do it.
He's acting fishier than the salmon I ate last night.
May I ask you something, Miss Faye?
Yes, Your Honor? What is it now?
Who is this person anyway? This Union Jacket fellow?
The Union Jack is the name of the United Kingdom's flag.
Oh, I see. So you mean like the stripes and stars, right?
As usual, Your Honor, your insight astounds me.
Kiss ass.
I know, right? I hate him. Hey, something just occurred to me. Isn't there something strange about this bit just now?
Let's see. He's not wearing no British flag.
Uh-huh. There you go.
Mia, there is a contradiction here.
Mr. Grossberg.
Quickly now, show that the boy you mean business. Quickly now, show that boy you mean business. With evidence, I mean.
Okay, Mia, check the court record carefully.
Well, my dear, do you think you can manage on your own from this point?
I can handle it.
Yep. That's just basically, if you haven't played the other games, that was then we'll kind of like talk to you about how to do a contradiction, like how to like do a hold it.
Fair enough.
I can do it. I can handle this myself.
You mustn't try to bite off more than you can chew, Mia.
I'll be fine. I know what I have to do.
Remember, you can always press him to get more information. Oh, and one more thing. When you're going to state a contradiction, make sure you present some definitive proof.
Okay, Mia. One more time. From the very beginning of his testimony.
All right, let's... Hardly knew the guy to begin with. I never even talked to that British wannabe. All right, Union Jack.
Let's present.
Objection!
Are you certain you saw the Union Jack?
Yeah, I'm sure. It was right there on his back.
Miss Faye, is there some point to this line of questioning?
Your Honor, please take another look at the crime scene photo. As you can see, there's absolutely nothing on the victim's back.
Hey, wait a minute! He's wearing a leather jacket. The Union Jack was on the back of the t-shirt he was wearing.
I was under the impression that you accidentally came across the body. But if that was really the case, then you wouldn't know that, would you? You have no idea at all what he was wearing underneath that jacket. Mr. Wright, you have been lying to me.
Please forgive me!
Mia, you've made our client cry!
Damn, that P on his chest doesn't stand for Phoenix anyways. Wait, did she just imply that the P stood for like pussy or something?
Oh! I wonder!
Damn! I can't believe I trusted him! Mr. Wright was all wrong! That was an impressive bit of cross-examination! Thank you for uncovering the defendant's lie for me. It's quite clear that this man did not simply stumble upon the scene of the crime. Oh no. Did I go too far? By the way, Mr. Wright, you seem to have a rather bad cold. Have you taken any medicine for it?
Yeah, I took some, but...
Was this medicine you took an over-the-counter brand called Cold Killer X?
Yeah, that's right. It kills colds good. Hey, wait a second. How did you know I'm a big fan of Cold Killer X?
Would you happen to have the medicine with you right now?
Well, actually, I seem to have lost it somewhere.
Lost it? Does this even have anything to do with the case? Mr. Wright! Shall I tell you where your cold medicine is right now?
Huh?
Your Honor, I'd like you to take another look at the photo. Okay. Your Honor, I'd like you to take a look at another photo from the crime scene.
What's this? In the victim's hand? It's Cold Killer X!
Objection!
This case is sponsored by Cold Killer X. Yes, but even I've got a bottle of Cold Killer X in my apartment. I'm sorry, but I'm afraid that argument won't work. There's no doubt as to who this bottle of Cold Killer X belongs to. Especially since Mr. Wright's fingerprints are all over it. What?
Uh-oh.
Sensing his murderous intent, Mr. Swallow must have picked up the bottle of medicine, dropped by Mr. Wright, and hid it in his hand. his purpose in doing so can only have been to identify his killer as Phoenix Wright.
What? That's such a stretch.
Order! Order in the court!
Your Honor, I'd like to present this photo and bottle as evidence.
Very well. The court will accept them into the record.
Victim's watch stopped at the time of the death. Cold color X found in clutch.
Let's take a quick look at that watch. Okay, so the time of death. All right, so
Was 3 o'clock?
3:05 about.
Roughly about 3:05. Okay. Also, the victim's wristwatch was broken.
Broken.
Yes, it ceased functioning when a huge wave of electricity passed through it. Well, Mr. Wright, do you have some kind of explanation for all this? This is really bad.
Oh, my buttocks! My poor hemorrhoids!
What really happened?
The truth is, I went because he called me. He was in the pharmaceutical department, so we agreed to meet at 12:45 behind the building. We talked for a bit, and then at around 3, we split up. And later, I went back and found him lying there. I've been taking cold killer acts for the last 2 or 3 days. But I lost my bottle of it around lunchtime on that day of the accident.
Mr. Wright, that's completely different from the testimony you gave previously.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. I was afraid you wouldn't believe the truth.
You'll forgive me if I say I hardly find your current testimony any more credible.
Miss Fay, please begin your cross-examination.
Oh, please, Mr. Wright. Don't tell any more lies. What really happened? You ever met the victim before then?
No, never. But that day, he called me up and told me he wanted to talk about Dolly.
And this Dolly person is?
It's kind of embarrassing. She's, my sweetheart.
Oh, what was that for, Mia?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I just felt like slapping something all of a sudden.
The hell?
She just slapped Grossberg.
For what?
I don't know. Dahlia Hawthorne was also the lover of the murder victim, Doug Swallow. Before she met Mr. Wright, that is.
So it was one of those nasty love triangles, I see.
Was it Mr. Swallow who indicated you should meet at 2:45?
Yeah, and we were both there right on time.
You said the victim was in the pharmacology department, correct?
Yeah, he was studying how to manufacture and improve pharmaceuticals. Everyone called him the alchemist of IVU.
An alchemist? I see.
I gotta admit, it was a little suspicious. He had the whole laboratory and everything. A whole laboratory? Wait, he had a whole laboratory to himself?
I mean, he had access to a laboratory because he was in the pharmaceutical.
Huh, okay.
Pharmacology.
It was filled with chemicals and strange machines that run on high voltage electricity.
Ho ho! How fascinating! Sounds like he was quite an ambitious young man.
What do I do? What do I do? Maybe I should ask him about more details?
About the timing of the meeting, about the Let's try this.
I was wondering if you could tell us a bit more about the pharmacology department.
Well, okay, sure. I don't know all that much, though.
A little bit earlier in your testimony, you said something interesting. You said the department uses strange machines that run on high voltage electricity.
That's right. And they sure look dangerous. They use non-standard voltages, so they're high voltage cables everywhere.
High voltage cables.
I'd hate to see what that power bill looks like. Yeah, there were electrical poles set up all around the building. The high voltage cables run overhead around the roof.
Finally, I think we're getting somewhere.
We talked for a bit, and then around 3 o'clock, we split up.
So what was it that you were talking about?
You know, that maybe we should hang out again sometime. Yeah, that's a lie.
Hang out again sometime? I wish that was true.
Okay, so that's obviously where the lie is. Well, not exactly. But that is a
He did
lie.
say that he was talking about Dolly.
I mean, yeah, they were talking about Dolly, for sure. And later, when I went back, I found him lying there.
So you say you went back.
Yeah, that's when I found the body.
Yes, but why did you go back in the first place? Weren't you angry with him?
Well, that's right, I was.
Then why, Mr. Wright? Why did you go back there?
Cold medicine, right? I thought maybe we could make up.
Judging by the atmosphere, I'm pretty sure no one is buying this.
2 or 3 days.
Rather unusual to catch a cold this time of year, isn't it?
Well, you know how I'm in college? I kinda took a bet to go skinny dipping in a lake. Yeah, I also get a little careless when the weather starts to warm up. I guess I shouldn't sleep with the window open this early in spring, huh?
Suppose common sense is not always common. So, did anyone else know that you were taking cold medicine?
Well, I always took one after meals, so I'm pretty sure all my friends knew about it. But I lost my bottle around lunchtime the day of the accident.
The day of the incident, what did you do for lunch?
Huh? What does that have to do with anything?
You can never be too sure.
I always eat with Dolly. Just the two of us. Dolly's handmade lunches are just the greatest. Her mini oatmeals are magically delicious.
Yo! What did you punch me for in the jaw?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I just felt like hurting someone all of a sudden.
The hell? You jealous? What is going on with you?
Maybe it's probably jealous.
She's like,
And
where
also
can I
those
find a good
omelets,
man
not-
like that? I don't fucking know.
It was omelets, not mini oatmeals.
Oh, did it? Oh, my bad.
She cooks little mini omelets.
I think that's enough for now. So the defendant and the victim met approximately at the time of his death. And the defendant returned to the scene for some unknown reason.
Not entirely convinced by his explanation about the medicine bottle either.
Let me be frank here, Mr. Wright. Your testimony cannot be trusted.
What do you mean?
I knew it was too much work for a little girl.
However, there is one mystery that still remains.
There is, Your Honor?
How the murder was carried out, of course. Just how was the victim electrocuted? I don't believe the murder weapon has been produced yet, correct?
Oh, hey, we got a follower. Blue Levy. Thank you.
Well, that is You are correct, Your Honor. Oh, how exactly was Mr. Swallow killed? If I could somehow establish how it was done, maybe I could still come out of this mess smelling like a rose.
Well, okay, let's
check the court record.
I mean, from the photo of the crime, that cable was cut and it hit him.
Yeah,
Okay,
it looks like that could be. It could be it.
How the hell could Phoenix have done that? Honestly. Okay, so establish murder method.
Your Honor,
Yes, Miss Faye.
I believe that if we were to piece together everything we've heard up until now, we should be able to solve the mystery of how Mr. Swallow died.
That would be most impressive.
Quite the brash statement coming from a rookie. But even a beginner like you must understand the basic rules of the court, yes? An attorney must be able to substantiate their argument with evidence. Of course I know that. Actually, I had totally forgot about that.
Now then, Miss Faye, let me see what you've got. Show me how you believe the victim was electrocuted.
I don't even need to look at it again. Seriously, she sounds like she's freaking 5 with that voice.
As for the cause of death, I'd say this picture captures it quite well.
What? But there is nothing that even remotely resembles a murder weapon here. I'm afraid the defense is going to have to explain this in a bit more detail. Miss Faye, where exactly is the murder weapon?
Right here, the freaking sparking cable line.
Well, naturally, it's right here.
What is that?
A severed electrical cable, I believe, Your Honor. Remember the testimony we've heard? The machines the pharmacology students use in their experiments require high voltage. And because of that, there are special high voltage cables strung up everywhere.
So then, the high voltage cable.
Yes, the high voltage cable is the cause of death. That is the most likely explanation.
That certainly sounds plausible. Well, Mr. Payne, what do you have to say to this?
Well, I believe some praise is in order. Don't toy with me, old man. Now, the victim's cause of death may indeed have been a high voltage cable. However, I want you to think about what it really implies. The only one who had the opportunity to use the cable as a murder weapon was the defendant.
That's you.
That much is certainly true.
Yes, and that's not all. We have proof. Irrefutable proof that will establish that Mr. Wright was the murderer.
You do? Well, what is it?
His fingerprints.
Uh-oh. Fingerprints? You mean the defendant's fingerprints were on something besides the medicine bottle?
Let's take another look at the crime scene photo. As you can see, the victim is wearing a leather jacket. And as you may know, leather holds fingerprints quite well. Ah, you mean... Yes. It was quite clearly imprinted on the chest area of the victim's jacket. The palm print of the defendant's very own hand.
What?
I can only think of one way Mr. Wright could have left a print like that. Intent on murder, he squarely pushed the victim towards the severed electrical cable.
That's stupid. Anybody with half a brain knows not to go near a severed electric cable.
Order, order, order! That's enough! I think we can conclude that there is no reason to continue with this cross-examination. Stick a fork in us, we're done!
Mr. Grossberg.
My hemorrhoids never lie. The show is over, Mia. I knew that boy was guilty the first time I saw him.
No, you're wrong. Mr. Wright is innocent.
No further evidence is required to convince me of this man's guilt.
Your Honor.
At this time, I am prepared to render a verdict in this case. Do you have something further to add, Miss Faye?
Is this what you want, Mr. Wright? You still haven't told us the truth. The whole truth. If you don't say something now, the judge is going to hand down his verdict.
But I can't. I just can't say it. If I told you what really happened, then I'd be...
It's okay, Mr. Wright. I'm your attorney. You can trust me.
Miss Faye.
No matter what it is that you have to say, I believe in you, and I'll represent you to the very end. Already established the defendant's guilt. There's no further need for him to say anything.
Wait a minute!
Mr. Wright.
I'll tell you what really happened.
I told you, Mr. Wright. There's no need for further.
I did it. What? I admit it. I pushed him. It's my fault. My fault that Doug Swallow is dead. Oh no.
That girl. You shouldn't see her anymore.
Hey, it's none of your business.
I'm telling you for your own sake. If you continue to see her, it's going to be bad news.
You're lying.
Just listen to me. There's something you need to know about that girl.
Stop it! Don't talk about her like that!
He just pushes him.
Oh, so he pushed him, and then the cable severed, and... Oh, no.
What you just said, was that the truth?
Yes. I was afraid. Afraid that if I told the truth, everyone would think I was a murderer for sure.
Well, as things currently stand, we're absolutely convinced you are.
Please! Please, give me one more chance to explain. This time, I swear I'll tell the whole truth. It'll be okay, won't it, Miss Faye? I believe in you.
Thank you. I still can't believe it. He really did push the victim.
Oh, it feels like my hemorrhoids are doing the Harlem Shake.
When I pushed the victim.
That guy, he was talking bad about Dolly.
Be gone, thought!
I lost my temper and gave him a shove. At that moment, I heard some kind of loud noise. A little while after I left, I started to get worried. So I went back, but he was lying there, dead.
Well, the explanation is really quite simple. When you pushed him, Mr. Swallow fell back and touched the electrical cable.
Okay, well, it's not first-degree murder. I think it's like, I think this would be classified as second-degree manslaughter. You get,
Yeah.
for those unaware, that's when you accidentally kill someone. Like, imagine if
You
you
had
throw
no
a brick
intention.
off a bridge and it hits like a guy on a boat down below. That's second-degree manslaughter. So, yeah, that still carries about 6 years.
Could be, I think it's anywhere from 5 to 15 years, depending on the severity of it. This will probably be pushing towards the top end of it. He died from the shock. And that, as they say, is that.
A simple explanation indeed.
The time of the incident, a light rain had been falling. Wet from the rain, the victim was more easily electrocuted.
But when I pushed him, there weren't any electrical cables nearby. If there had been something like that, even I would have noticed it.
That's true. Even a doofus like him couldn't miss that.
That's what I was saying.
Miss Faye, let me warn you right now that if your cross-examination doesn't yield any new facts, I intend to deliver my verdict without further delay. Are we clear on that?
Yes, Your Honor. Don't give up, Mia. If he's innocent, there must be some kind of evidence that will prove it.
Talking bad about Dolly. He called her a thought!
So I pushed him. So what kind of things did Mr. Swallow say to you?
Could you imagine, like, the scene of, like, Phoenix, like, all women are queens! If she breathes, she's a thought!
And he just pushes him. That's their argument. Now, I kind of want to do that. Swallow as the other person.
He said all sorts of terrible things about Dolly. He said that she was a bad girl.
Phoenix, normally people say that it's about like in the bedroom, not like as like their personality.
Is that all?
Yep.
Damn it, Phoenix.
Damn it, Phoenix! It's interesting to see him in a point of his life where he was much less mature.
Yeah.
Well, Miss Faye, you heard him yourself.
Oh boy. You're not doing yourself any favors here, Mr. Wright. Please don't make this harder for me than it already is.
Anyway, after he said that, I lost my temper and gave him a shove.
You tell me about what happened in a little more detail.
That guy, he just said what he wanted to say to me. And then he put on the jacket he was holding and started to leave. That's when I lost my temper and flew into a furious frenzy. That image has some power to it. I just gave him a light, gentle shove to the chest. A gentle shove to the chest doesn't put people on the ground.
Can we have that as a thumbnail? Him just looking over dude, just like, yeah.
My girlfriend now.
And when you did that, there was no severed cables anywhere to be seen?
Right! There was nothing like that at all!
Is it possible that you merely overlooked it?
Did you see those cables? Nobody could not miss that! Or, nobody could miss that. Oh, damn it. Well, I guess it's possible.
What are you doing? Don't let that guy steamroll over. What are you doing? Don't let that guy steamroll over you like cheap asphalt.
I believe what's important here is the moment you pushed. The moment the push occurred. Let's continue on with the testimonies.
At the moment, I heard some kind of loud noise.
Loud noise? And what would you say that loud noise was, Mr. Wright?
I'm not sure, but it was really loud. It was like, snap! You know, come to think of it, I wonder what that was.
Clearly, Your Honor, it was the sound of the victim being executed.
Electrocuted.
Electrocuted. You're not qualified to decide that. What should I do? I'm treading on some dangerous ground here.
Ask for a few more details.
Mr. Wright, that loud noise you heard may be extremely important. So try to remember what it was.
How do I put it? It was like a sharp crack. Ah, could it have been?
Yes? Could it have been... Hurry up and tell us!
When I pushed him, he dropped an umbrella he was holding. He fell right on top of it and broke it. That was probably the noise I heard.
An umbrella, huh? And did that umbrella belong to the victim?
Yeah, it was a plastic umbrella, cheap and frail, kind of like the owner. Then again, I wish I had any kind of umbrella. I was totally soaked to the bone.
Miss Faye, what do you think? Is there something important in that testimony just now?
Well...
It's always important.
This is it, Mia. The new information you've been waiting for. Of course it's important. No, this cheap umbrella is more than important. It's vital. I want to officially have it entered into the testimony. Ha! How perfectly fitting. Flimsy information for a flimsy lawyer.
The court agrees to the defense's request. Witness, please add the bit about the cheap umbrella to your testimony.
Okay. He fell down on top of his cheap umbrella.
So Mr. Swallow fell on top of his umbrella? And are you certain about this?
Yeah, I was right there under him. Or it was right there under him. Actually, if it hadn't been under him, I was planning on borrowing it for myself.
The umbrella, you mean?
Yeah, well, you see, I was wearing this sweater here. Dolly stayed up late for nights at a time knitting it for me. That's kind of sweet.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want the rain to dampen the handmade symbol of her love.
Ooh, my stomach is not your personal soccer ball, Mia!
Yeah, she's jealous.
My God.
I'm so sorry.
Continue with your testimony, witness.
He fell
on top of the cheap umbrella.
Okay. But the umbrella's out from under his body in that.
Yeah. That's a contradiction right there. Why didn't you testify about the umbrella from the very, very beginning?
Come on. If I'd mentioned that...
I would have been able to counter the prosecution's argument earlier. What do you mean by that? Take another look at the crime scene photo. According to Mr. Wright, the victim fell on top of his umbrella. However, if you look closely, the umbrella is nowhere near the victim. Actually, it's by the electrical pole.
You're absolutely right.
The conclusion here is obvious. After the defendant left, the victim moved from where he fell. In other words, after he was pushed by the defendant, Mr. Swallow was still alive. No! Oh, we got him on his back foot.
Order! The victim, he moved? Mr. Payne, the umbrella in this photo, where is it now?
Well, it was collected by the police at this crime scene.
I want it present as evidence immediately.
Owned by the victim.
There we go.
Found broken near an electrical pole at the crime scene.
But the umbrella could have simply been blown there by the wind.
Perhaps we should check for fingerprints. Eh?
Objection!
According to the testimony, the victim fell on top of the umbrella. There's simply no way it could have been blown there by the wind.
I know this matter of the umbrella seems relatively trivial, but as long as the smallest doubt remains, I cannot render my final judgment.
No!
I must say, I still find it hard to believe that a huge hole has been blown in the prosecution's case by the defendant's testimony.
The victim fell on top of his umbrella. There was a loud sound when this happened.
This is a new mechanic where the testimony can be added into your evidence.
Okay.
Well done, Mia! Mr. Payne, what are you chuckling about?
In me, Your Honor. It seems I have been expecting too much of a free ride. It was foolish to think I could establish guilt through cross-examination alone.
You are a very foolish person.
I'm afraid I don't follow what you're saying.
Let me guess. You have another witness. Exactly! And this witness's testimony will be
Incontrovertible.
incontrovertible.
Well, who is this witness?
Miss Dahlia Hawthorne.
Dahlia Hawthorne. You don't mean Dolly?
I do, Your Honor. The defendant's very own lover is a witness to the whole thing. That's right. She was at the scene of the crime when the murder took place.
What?
Sorry to break the bad news to you, my dear. Mia's too cool for school. Bad news. You couldn't be more wrong. Actually, I've been waiting for this. You can't be serious!
Mia, what do you mean by that? I think this is a good point for us to stop. Court will now enter a 20-minute recess. Afterwards, we will listen to the testimony of Miss Dahlia Hawthorne.
April 11th, 11:52 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby number 3.
So they were in there for 2 hours in game time.
Mm-hmm.
Miss Faye, I'm sorry about what happened back there.
It's all right. At least you told us the truth in the end, Mr. Wright.
Yeah. So I guess I can start to relax then, huh?
Relax, my boy! You can't be serious after hiding such important facts!
But the next witness is my Dolly, right? She'll save me. I just know she will.
Why did you think that?
Huh? What do you mean? She's the love of my life. That's why.
Phoenix is about to get his soul crushed.
Yeah. The love of your life, huh? Would you mind telling me more about you and Miss Dahlia Hawthorne?
Sure, no problem. Dolly and I, we first met about 8 months ago, right here in this very courthouse. Actually, I'm studying to be a lawyer on the side. Anyway, one day, she and I just bumped into each other in the reading rooms downstairs. That's why I really think it was fate that brought us together. As soon as I first set eyes on her, I knew she was the one for me. Oh, here, take a look at this. She gave this to me the day we met as a symbol of our love. It's the day you met? This girl told you. This girl told you she liked you the day you met?
Uh-huh.
Phoenix, my boy, do you not know women? That is a serious red flag. God, how naive are you, Phoenix Wright?
Look at him. He's so happy, though.
He is so naive, though.
He is so naive.
You know what we call Phoenix Wright? This is the guy who gets. This is not even simp. This is a dude who just gets taken advantage of.
That, yeah.
Okay.
Poor Phoenix.
Yeah, I guess a simp.
Poor Phoenix.
Oh, I'm sure he's about to get a big fat reality check. Don't worry.
We have 3 phases of Phoenix Wright: the college years, the attorney years, and the hobo years.
She had been wearing it around her neck that day, but then she took it off. But before she gave it to me, she said, "I want you to carry this."
So she gave it to you as a present, I see.
This darling little bottle is filled with memories of my darling little Dolly.
It certainly is a little bottle, all right.
It makes me so happy. I show it to everyone I meet. I want to share my happiness with the whole world.
If I get my attorney's badge, I want to do the same thing.
Dahlia's present. A small bottle necklace given to Wright on the day they met. He shows it to everyone.
Anyway. So, after that, you and Miss Hawthorne started dating?
Yeah, but she's so shy. Every time I see her, she always says the same thing to me. Please give it back now. What?
What a strange girl, asking for a present back like that.
By the way, Mr. Wright, the day you first met Dahlia Hawthorne 8 months ago, wouldn't happen to have been August 27th, would it?
Huh? Yeah, it was. But how did you know?
This happened on August 27th, right here in this courthouse.
What's this? A newspaper clipping? Let's see.
Murder in the courthouse! Oh no!
Murder in the courthouse.
Murder? What are you reading there? Let me see that. Oh, I see. Mia, I think I understand what you're trying to say. And I think I understand why you suddenly took such a keen interest in this case. You believe there is some connection between these 2 cases. Am I correct?
You know, we had to read that.
Oh, obviously.
Very little information is being disclosed at this time, since the victim of yesterday's incident in the district courthouse cafeteria is said to have been a lawyer. However, the police are questioning the 19-year-old female college student who was sitting with the victim.
Yikes.
I need to finish this myself.
Yes, but I'm afraid what you have will not be enough, my dear. I'll go in and have a look in the downstairs reading room and see what else I can find.
You.
I want to do whatever I can to be of help to you, Mia. Well, it looks like recess is about over. We'd all better get moving.
I guess so. That recess sure seemed longer than 20 minutes, though.
To be continued.
Has some hooks. What's going on here? What is the connection?
Guess we're gonna find out.
April 11th, 12:13 p.m. District Court Room number 2.
Didn't it used to be District Courtroom number 3?
We were in the lobby 3.
No, I mean like the courtroom was always District Courtroom
It changes for various different reasons.
Okay. Wait, we're in number 3 now, right?
Yep.
Oh, is it changing with the game?
I don't think so.
Oh, all right.
Court will now reconvene. Mr. Payne, please call your witness.
Next person is someone who witnessed the crime as it happened. The prosecution calls Miss Dahlia Hawthorne to the stand.
All right. Damn, she's cute.
She is really cute. And she got little butterflies! What's with the stiff silence?
In my long career as a judge, I have never been deceived by many witnesses. It's my job to doubt, to take no one at their word. But in your case, I must admit that you radiate a glow of complete sincerity.
I believe he actually said that!
That's not what a judge should say.
No. Now then, witness, could you please state your full name? Yeah, the judge got caught in 4K.
Don't worry, sweetie, there's...
Don't worry, sweetie! Judge, you've been caught in 8K!
Don't worry, sweetie. There is no need to be nervous.
If anyone says anything rude, you can be sure I'll cut them right down to size.
And I will bash them with my gavel.
Love how they looked straight at me when they said that.
Thank you for calming my nerves. You're all so nice. I almost feel right at home.
It all.
It was nothing.
If I may move on now, what is your full name and occupation?
My name is Dahlia Hawthorne. I'm a junior in literature at Ivy University. I just want to say, it's an honor for me to be here in your noble presence.
Zeke,
The honor's all mine!
Zeke, help. The things start to work on me. She's too cute!
She is way too cute.
Help me! No, the honor is all mine!
And you want her as, like, the waifu? Is she, like, best girl for you?
No, she's a murderer!
We can't be too sure. Well, we know whose milkshakes bring all the boys to the yard.
Milkshake, but she's flat. Even better.
She is...
Ah! No! Murderer! Murderer!
Sir?
Is there anything I can help you with?
You just go on and say whatever it is on your mind.
I'm sure that there must be some kind of mistake.
Feeny.
Beanie.
Feeny, alright. Hang on, I just need to get my laughs out.
Feeny wouldn't kill anyone. I just know it.
Yes. I can see why you'd say that.
Gonna be a tough witness, all right. It only took her 12 seconds to wrap them all around her little finger.
Now then, please proceed with your testimony. Let's hear about what you witnessed on the day of the incident, if you please.
What I witnessed.
I had been planning to go back to Feenie's place after class was over. Feenie and Dougie, they were talking behind the building. Then suddenly, Dougie got all wobbly and just collapsed.
Wait a minute, that's a lie. Phoenix pushed him. I don't even need to press. I already found it.
That's when Feenie noticed that I was there. I went to go and find some other students, and they called the authorities.
I don't know what to say. According to you, Miss Hawthorne, the defendant didn't do anything wrong.
Young lady! As old as I am, even I recall how hot of the flames of young passion can burn. Nevertheless, it is my job to discover the truth. Please, tell us the truth.
But I would never.
That's more than enough, witness. I won't allow this to continue.
What do you mean by that?
Please, just let me proceed with my cross-examination, Your Honor. I, for one, don't plan to win my case on a bunch of paper-thin lies.
You haven't changed a bit,
Huh?
Mia Fey.
Oh.
Oh.
What's this? So are you two acquainted? Yes, we've met before. Once.
In any case, Miss Fey, the floor is all yours.
It's good to see you again, Madam Fey.
Madam? I'm no one's grandma yet, girly. What I witnessed. So you think you already found it?
Yeah. Dougie got all wobbly and just collapsed. Phoenix's testimony. There it is. Wait, why?
He fell on...
The victim fell on top of the...
You're on the right idea, just press it first.
Ah, okay.
I'll give you that one, I'll give you a bone there, you're on the right track. Just press it. Are you saying that the victim just collapsed on his own?
Yes.
In other words, the defendant never touched the victim. Is that right?
I was watching the whole time. Feenie never did a thing to Dougie.
I pressed her for no good reason. I just know the judge will get angry with me. What should I do about her testimony just now? You already pointed out there is a contradiction.
Okay.
Feeble lies are not very becoming, Miss Hawthorne. So let's drop them, shall we?
What? I would never.
Damn it. Help me. Help me. She's getting too cute. Help. Zeke, say something.
Bonk.
Bring me back to reality, Zeke. Help me.
She'll be cuter if she was a cat girl.
No, that didn't work. That didn't work.
Hey, reverse! Miss Fey, I will not allow you to badger this witness!
Oh, thank God. Looking at Payne's ugly mug brought me back to reality.
I believe the defense is engaging in a fishing expedition. That is, she has no supporting... She's just staring him down!
Yes, thank you, Mia. You might just save me from the witness's lies.
Please don't glare at me like that! I'm just doing my job! Now then, Miss Hawthorne. paw print was found on Mr. Swallow's leather jacket. It was already been shown that Mr. Wright did, in fact, push the victim.
What?
There's no need to try to cover for the defendant. It would be much better if you come out and told us the whole truth.
There's nothing to worry about, young lady. Just tell us everything you saw.
Yes, Your Honor, I will. If you don't mind, I'd like to revise my testimony.
Looks like we're finally getting somewhere.
Actually, I didn't see the moment he pushed Dougie.
You didn't see it?
Well, I saw the moment when Dougie fell to the ground.
And at that time, there was only the two of them at the scene of the crime. The defendant, Phoenix Wright, and the victim, Doug Swallow.
Yes, that's right.
I didn't oh.
Wait a minute, hold on. Let me look at what Phoenix's testimony says. Never mind.
No,
I didn't hear any. Oh wait, I didn't hear anything unusual. A loud sound. Okay, here we go.
A loud snap. How is that not unusual? You say you didn't hear anything unusual. Is that correct?
Yes, that's why I was very relaxed, looking at the scenery around me.
I love that confident hair flick, Mia.
That's nice. But I find that just a little odd. I have here the testimony of your boyfriend, Mr. Phoenix Feeney Wright. Can you imagine if she starts calling him that?
Oh my god.
And he clearly testified to the effect that when he pushed the victim, he heard a sharp, loud noise.
He said that?
You were really that close to the two of them. Why didn't you hear this noise as well? Well, maybe the noise just wasn't all that memorable. But according to Mr. Wright's testimony, it was a sharp sound like a snap. There's no way a noise like that could fail to make an impression.
May I have a moment to answer?
By all means.
I know the reason why I didn't hear the noise. You see, the truth is, I had my headphones on and was listening to music at the time.
Bones? You mean that both of your ears were covered?
The rain was just beginning to let up, but it seemed as though Thor wasn't ready for his fun to...
Thor? Who's Thor?
But it seems as though
like
Thor wasn't ready.
God of lightning, God of thunder.
Ah, okay, that makes sense.
But it seems as though Thor wasn't ready for his fun to come to an end yet. So the sky continued to flash and rumble.
Thunder and lightning, huh?
Yes, I'm afraid of the sound of thunder. So I put my headphones on to block it out.
Well, Your Honor, as you can see, there wasn't any contradiction in her testimony after all. Wait a second, Mia. That testimony just now. She said something that could totally change this whole case. She didn't hear anything. She was listening to music. There was lightning.
Huh. Okay. We've got two viable options here.
Let's think about this.
She didn't hear anything. I don't think that would really make a difference. She was listening to music. I guess there was lightning. That's really the only thing
Yeah, because if it was lightning, that would be considered an act of God. Phoenix would be seen innocent. And it just so happened that cable fell over. Your Honor, there's a problem with the witness testimony.
What do you mean?
Didn't you notice? She said there was lightning, correct?
Yes? What about it?
Well, lightning is actually a large discharge of electricity in the atmosphere. Am I right?
Pretty much.
Now's not the time for a science lesson, Miss Fay.
Yes, Your Honor. Anyway, since the cause of death was electrocution, isn't it possible that the victim died from being hit by a bolt of lightning?
Oh!
Ah!
I must admit that the thought had not occurred to me.
Just what kind of thoughts do occur to this guy anyway? He is sassy. This entire case is built on the premise that Mr. Doug Swallow was murdered. But that very premise itself is mistaken. The defense believes that Mr. Swallow was, in fact, the victim of a stray bolt.
It appears the defense may be onto something. Could it be that the death was actually accidental?
All right, you did it, Mia. I'll be taking that not guilty.
Oh, God.
I'm hurt that you have such a low opinion of me, Miss Fay.
Well, you kind of do it to yourself.
Huh? I'm not a fool, you know. The prosecution has done its research, Your Honor. We found that there were no lightning strikes on that day at that location. What? What's more, we have evidence that the electrical cable is definitely linked to this case.
Evidence? Mr. Payne? Evidence, Mr. Payne? Well, what is this evidence?
Affidavit.
And who is this affidavit from?
The pharmaceutical students who were conducting experiments in their lab that day. Allow me to read out to the court the testimony of the pharmaceutical students. All equipment in the lab lost power all of a sudden at around 3 p.m. that day.
Was it a blackout?
All the lab's equipment run on high voltage, Your Honor. So you're saying the equipment lost power because... Precisely! They lost power because of the severed electrical cable. The power outage occurred approximately 3 p.m.
Which fits the time of the death listed in the autopsy report.
Exactly! In other words, the victim died as a result of touching the severed electrical cable. According to the students, the cable was really old. They were planning on having them replaced in the near future.
I see.
Apparently, the cables had become so brittle that even the smallest bump would have caused them to break.
The old power cable broke due to some sort of impact on 49255.
However, there is one thing that troubles me. If the cable could have been broken by any small bump, then it wouldn't have snapped if it hadn't been bumped into, correct?
Well, suppose you could say that.
Miss Fay, do you have any thoughts regarding the cause of the severed cable?
Your Honor, like how this is looking one bit. I have to come up with something to try to regain some momentum. If it pleases the court, the defense would like to state its opinion.
Well then, let's hear it. Who or what was it that caused the cable to break?
Okay, we've got nothing of what caused the cable to break. We've only got
It's
who. Okay, obviously not Grossberg. Phoenix is innocent. This guy's dead. Let's say it was Winston Payne. No, 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 no. Bad, bad. She's cute, but it's no, murderer.
This is it. This is why the cable snapped. Well, Your Honor?
I believe that is the only thing that has snapped is the mind of the defense.
Ah! That was one of the best lines yet, Your Honor.
Kiss ass.
Your Honor. Ouch. That was harsh. Please, Your Honor, give me one more chance.
Well then, let's hear it.
Who or what was it that caused the cable to break?
Think about it. What happened, like in the testimony that we've heard so far? What could have caused the cable to snap?
Okay, if the cable was really weak, as they said,
Mm-hmm.
could have been Phoenix. Could it really have been Phoenix pushing the guy?
Yeah.
Huh. Well, all right. We'll give it a shot.
Your Honor, please think back to Mr. Wright's testimony.
The defendant's testimony.
He said that after he pushed the victim, he heard a loud, sharp noise. Now, this happened around 3 p.m., correct?
Yes, that sounds right. Wait, are you saying that?
The lab equipment lost power at 2:55, which fits right in Mr. Wright's timeline. In other words, it was Mr. Wright's shove that caused the power outage. Yeah, the prosecution also came to that same conclusion. And it was the very shove that caused Mr. Swallow to be electrocuted. I'm afraid I can't agree with you there, Mr. Payne.
You know, okay, let's assume that cable did snap because Phoenix pushed the guy to the ground. Is that still grounds for manslaughter? It's like, how was Phoenix supposed to know that cable was weak? Like, okay, as we said earlier, our example was we throw a rock off a bridge, hits a guy driving a boat, the guy dies. You know, you accidentally killed someone. But it's like, you push someone down on the ground, and then that weak-ass cable hanging up there falls and hits that guy. I don't think you'd have grounds for, like, a guilty verdict there.
What's that supposed to mean? Take a good look at where the victim landed after being shoved. See the umbrella? It's by the electrical pole. That's right. The victim banged into the pole as a result of being pushed. It was that impact that caused the cable to break.
Well, that makes sense. And the victim was electrocuted.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, but no. It doesn't make sense at all. The victim was shoved into the far pole. Then he could have, then he could have been electrocuted by the severed cable in the foreground here. Ah! In other words, someone other than my client must have electrocuted the victim.
Order! Order in the court!
The lamentations of my enemy. I've longed to hear them.
It's true. The defense is absolutely correct. There doesn't seem to be any way the defendant...
Mr. Judge, sir? May I say something? The Madam Attorney's explanation. She said some things that are a little different than I remember them.
What?
What the?
Please, just once more. May I please testify one last time? Please, Mr. Judge.
Mia, do something sexy before I lose my mind.
Of course, it's all right. Just go right ahead and give me your new testimony.
This is it. She's really starting to show her true colors. What I witnessed, part 2.
The truth is, Feeny pushed him twice. The first time, he was into the electrical pole. That's when the cable broke. Then Dougie tried his best to run away from him, but Feeny caught up and crashed into him from behind. The cable snapping and Dougie being electrocuted. It all occurred in less than a minute.
So after being shoved, the victim got up and tried to run away.
That is when the defendant pushed him for the second time.
I'm so sorry, Feeny, but I just have to tell the truth. Am I doing the right thing? Am I, Mr. Judge?
Of course you are, my dear. As painful as it may seem, you are. Now then, Miss Faye, you may proceed with your cross-examination.
All right.
Miss Hawthorne, previously in your testimony, you said the following. Actually, I didn't see the moment he pushed Dougie.
I know. I'm sorry. I wanted to protect Feeny.
So that's why you basically lied to the court?
I was a bad girl, I know. Mr. Judge,
Yes?
would you please forgive little old me?
Of course he won't.
Oh, come on now. It was just a little old white lie.
In a court of law! Judge, you friggin' simp!
You got an achievement for that.
Did I really?
Yes.
Oh, let's see what it says.
We'll forget about it this time, but please be more... We'll forget about it this time, but please be more careful from now on, all right?
Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Judge.
Not at all!
Judge had better be more careful himself. A dark alley is friendlier than that girl.
I didn't get an... Oh, wait. Achievement unlocked. Beware, Your Honor.
You're saying you actually saw the victim get pushed into an electrical pole?
I know he doesn't look like it, but Feeny can be a bit of an imp when he wants to.
Oh,
Oh.
Phoenix.
Phoenix, my man! Oh, really?
But I never imagined that he would cause an electrical cable to break. Feeny really is scary when he gets mad.
Yes, he sounds like a very dangerous individual indeed.
You little... Oh, Judge, you are beyond help.
Then Dougie tried his best to run away from him.
Let me get this straight. You were happily listening to your music on your headphone while you watched the scene unfold? Miss Faye, I'll have to ask you to stop badgering the witness.
I wasn't happy. I was so scared that I couldn't even move. All I could do was stand there and cheer them on.
Cheer them on? What do you mean by that?
Oh, come on, Mia. We all know women love it when men fight over them.
Well, I wish the best for both of them, and that they would each give the fight their all.
That's very sweet of you to be so supportive.
And what happened after that?
But Feeny caught up and crashed into him from behind.
That doesn't sound quite right. There was handprints found on the chest of the victim's leather jackets. Mr. Payne, were there also prints found in the back of his leather jacket? Well, there wasn't.
Madam Faye, may I suggest that you listen a little more carefully? I said that he crashed into him from behind, right? My Feeny wouldn't leave any prints behind in that case, would he?
Less than a minute.
You actually witnessed the moment the victim was electrocuted.
I'm sorry, I didn't actually see it. I turned my eyes away.
That's understandable.
Yes, indeed. It would have been a horrific sight for anyone to behold.
I don't figure out the contradiction here. It's all over. She didn't have much time to come up with her lie, so this is my best chance. There must be a hole in her testimony somewhere. Think, Maya.
Mia.
Oh, think, Mia.
Pushed him twice. Let's check the evidence real fast. What do we got? Attorney's badge, proof of my profession. The first and last time I wore it was a year ago. And Doug's autopsy report.
3 p.m.
Okay. Let's take a look at the crime photo. There's that umbrella. Say, if he landed under that umbrella, shouldn't it be crushed and not open?
It's crushed. I think that's how they represent it being crushed.
Fair enough.
Look at the
Okay.
time again.
It's like 5 minutes past 3.
Yeah, 3:05. What was the time of death?
3 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
They always generalize it like that, though.
Yeah, what did the students say?
Some sort of impact 5 minutes before 3.
He
Okay.
died at 3 o'clock. Well, he actually died at 3:05 because of that the watch. The power outage happened at 2:55.
Which means
That right there-
that cable could have been preemptively cut.
Or that's when Phoenix was pushing Dude. The cable snapped at 2:55. He died at 3:05.
A 10
So
minute gap.
Phoenix, there's the 10-minute gap, and she said it all happened in less than a minute.
Interesting. Okay, so I think
So
our
present-
best chance is this photo of the watch.
It's either crime photo 2 or the student's testimony. Either one of them work.
Do crime photo 2.
That's enough, witness.
I'm afraid I don't understand.
You will in a minute. Could you please take a look at this photo?
Oh, that medicine! That's the one that Feeny likes to take for his cold.
Not the medicine I want you to look at. It's the wristwatch. It stopped at the precise time the victim was electrocuted. In other words, 3:05 p.m.
Yes, and your point is, Miss Faye.
My point is this. What time was it when the lab suffered the power outage due to the cable snapping? Well, according to the student's testimony, the answer is clear. It was 2:55 p.m. Yeah! Would you care to explain to the court, Miss Dahlia Hawthorne? What exactly happened during this 10-minute interval? The defense proposes that it was during this interval that the real murderer killed Mr. Doug Swallow.
Order!
This is nonsense! The real murderer?
Objection!
Even you can't deny that the time between the cable breaking and electrocution are completely unaccounted for. Then who was it? Who else are you saying could have done it? There's only one person who could have murdered Mr. Swallow. Only after my client had left the scene. Was there a window of opportunity for the real killer?
Miss Faye, is the defense ready to indict someone as the real killer?
Finally, time. This is the moment I've been waiting for. Yes, Your Honor. We are ready.
Very well. But remember, if you accuse the wrong person, you will be penalized. Think very carefully before you speak, Miss Faye.
Okay.
Now, Miss Faye, let's have it. Who is the real killer?
Winston Payne, of course!
I wish. Oh, boy. This is gonna be sad. She's so damn cute, and I'm about to put her in jail for murder. Oh, wrong button.
It had only been you, Dahlia Hawthorne.
What? How can you?
Vincent's grasping at straws! 10 minutes passed between the time the cable broke and the time of the electrocution. What exactly were you doing that whole time, Miss Hawthorne? Were you really listening to some music while cheering them both on as they fought? I find it hard to believe that you didn't lift a finger to stop the men dearest to you.
Order! Order! Miss Faye! What? I mean, why? That is to say...
Miss Hawthorne, I believe you did witness the two men fighting that day. However, after Mr. Wright pushed the victim and subsequently left the scene, it was you who pushed Mr. Swallows to his death by your very own hands.
How can you say something so mean, Madam Faye? I didn't do anything.
Miss Faye, this is a very serious charge you are...
Wait, was that Phoenix?
Whoa.
Your Honor! Please, I have something I want to say. Achoo!
You! What is it?
Please strike everything the defense said just now from the record.
Are you daft?
You're totally wrong, Miss Faye. Dolly, she couldn't do something like that.
Mr. Wright, get back in your seat! Bailiff, grab that man!
Ah! Achoo! Achoo! Leave my Dolly alone!
That boy.
Oh, it's Grossberg.
He's gotten himself in way over his head.
Oh, Mr. Grossberg, you're back.
It seems I have arrived just in the nick of time. I found the police report on that incident in your newspaper clipping.
A report on the incident 8 months ago.
Thank you so much. This is exactly what I was hoping for.
Okay, location, District Courthouse Cafeteria, date and time, August 27th, 4 p.m. Victim, Diego Armando. Age 28. Occupation
lawyer.
I got this, don't worry.
Okay, sorry.
Suspect, Dahlia Hawthorne, age 19. Armando ingested poison while interviewing the suspect regarding another case. Traces of poison were found in the victim's coffee cup. No poison was found in the vicinity or the suspect's person. It is unclear how the poison entered the coffee cup. She poisoned a guy.
You'd better take a good look at it. It details how you came to lose your boyfriend. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh. Yo, can we get an F in the chat for Diego?
F. Wow. This is a terrible joke, but fellas, that means Mia is available.
Now then.
Oh, that's why she was getting so jealous, I bet.
Yes.
Now then.
She
She
hates
hates this bitch because this bitch killed her boyfriend.
Yes.
Now then. The defense has made a very serious accusation. Mr. Payne, what do you have to say about this?
Well, really, Your Honor,
May I interrupt you for just a moment, Mr. Prosecutor?
Don't you worry, my dear. I have this situation well in hand. Go right ahead.
Madam Faye, are you seriously accusing me of killing my sweet Dougie?
Yes, I am. Not only am I saying you murdered Doug Swallow, but you also tried to pin the whole thing on your current lover, Phoenix Wright. I told you that you should let me handle this. Sorry. Please go ahead.
How can you say that? I'm absolutely devoted to my dear Feeny. The notion that I would try to frame him is ludicrous. This is all just too much for poor little me to bear.
I believe that girl is trying to ask what on earth her motive would be.
The answer to that lies somewhere in this police report. It must. 8 months ago, an incident occurred in the basement cafeteria of this building. And then, that same day, the two of them accidentally met. Your Honor, the defense requests further testimony from Miss Dahlia Hawthorne.
Further testimony. What about?
Of the events of the day when she first met the defendant, Mr. Phoenix Wright. What could that possibly have to do with this case?
Objection!
The witness claimed that she has no reason to frame the defendant. Am I correct? Well, I have evidence that suggests that she, in fact, had a very good reason.
Very well then. The court grants the defense's request. Young lady, would you mind staying on for just a bit longer?
Of course not, Mr. Judge.
Amazing that nobody pleads the fifth in these instances.
Right? Get ready for the battle of your life, Dahlia Hawthorne.
How I Met My Feeny.
Sounds like a bad sitcom.
I first met my darling Feeny 8 months ago. It's like we were destined to meet in this very courthouse's basement reading room. The moment our eyes met, my heart skipped a beat. We've been going out ever since that fateful day.
We're so lovey. Oh, this is Phoenix.
This is
We're
Phoenix.
so lovey-ovey. We literally make people sick. It's just jealousy, I think.
Mr. Wright, do that again and you will be held in contempt of court.
Now we enter the final act of our little drama.
As we used to say in the days of my youth, go get her!
How I Met My Feeny. I have to say that. Okay.
So until that time, you had been dating Doug Swallow?
Wait, this implies that she just dumped him on the spot to date.
Yes. Yeah. Oh,
Yes, I'm a real fool, I know. Letting my emotions change so quickly. I'm ashamed of myself.
No, not at all.
Shut up, Simp.
Look at me. I'm infamous for changing my mind.
That's not a good thing.
My critics have even taken to calling me Judge Fickle.
maybe you should look into a different line of work.
Despite that, however, he always hands down the correct verdict. That's why some people also call him the Great Judgini? The
Judge
Great
Genie.
Judgini.
I love the judge. He's like stupid, but I love him.
He's great, I will say. It's like we were destined to meet.
The courtroom reading room. That's a strange place to meet the love of your life.
Weirder stuff has happened.
That's not true, Madame Faye. After all, Feeny was not only an art student, but he was also planning on becoming a lawyer.
I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about you, Miss Hawthorne. What was a literature student like you doing in the courthouse reading room? This line of questioning is a waste of time. It has nothing to do with our murder case.
Miss Faye, I'm warning you. If this has nothing to do with Mr. Swallow's case.
I have to remember that the judge is on Dahlia's side. I better tread carefully.
We can afford one penalty.
Your Honor, if you'll allow me to some latitude, I think I can establish relevancy. Please ask her to continue on with her testimony.
Very well. Young lady, I've got a simple question for you. What were you doing downstairs in the courtroom reading house room? Or the courthouse reading room?
If it pleases your honor, the answer is simply this.
I had come to the courthouse to do some research for a paper I was writing.
That is bullshit. You're writing a paper? On what?
On the relationship between modern...
Senryu poetry and the...
Henryu.
On the relationship between modern Senryu poetry and the criminal underworld.
Ho ho ho! That sounds like a fascinating research idea.
Am I getting old? Now I even forgotten what I've forgotten.
In with the midlife crisis stuff.
Mia, why did that girl really come to the courthouse? Isn't that what you wanted to know? And speaking of forgetting things, you haven't forgotten the police report, have you? I went through a lot of trouble to get it, my dear, so be sure to read it carefully.
Okay, so... I kind of want to press this just really fast. Just to see...
So, what was it about Mr. Wright? Oh, no.
Oh, here we go.
So, what was it about Mr. Wright that made your heart malfunction like that? In my personal opinion, he just looks like a typical snotty-nosed college brat.
Perhaps to...
Woman your age!
Oh, The claws are out.
Perhaps to a woman your age, but to me, Feeny is handsome.
Perhaps to you, Miss Hawthorne, but to the rest of the planet, he's a dime a dozen.
Damn. All right, way to destroy a guy's confidence.
I disagree. I think Phoenix Wright is very sexy. I mean, what?
He would so say that too. Love is a mysterious thing, and I object to this line of questioning. If you were to look at my wife, for example, you might all be shocked because I don't have one.
He's telling the truth. It was truly shocking.
Boots up his PC. Get ready to meet my wife. It's just some virtual reality cat girl. This is my wife.
Please put it away. I hate the fact that I'm in the same room as you.
Beautiful mushroom, growing tall in the darkness. It comes from cow dung. That poem describes... That's the poem that best describes how I feel about my
Feeny.
Phoenix Wright
He's the
came out of
equivalent
cow
of cow
dung.
shit.
A mushroom coming out of a cow shit.
That's what you think about him? I gotta press the last statement now.
Were there any bad feelings between you and Mr. Swallow?
No, none at all. We parted on very good terms.
Oh, please, like I believe that.
Hey, I know we've been dating for a long time, but I just found someone cuter, so bye.
He looks like he looks like a fungus coming out of a cow turd. But that can't be. Our investigation also showed that it was a clean breakup.
Are you?
Are you serious? Yes! It seems they both wanted it that way.
Dude was probably like, you know what? You've used up, we've had so much sex that, you're pretty much used goods at this point. So that's cool. Go date someone else.
Oh, God.
Okay, that was a little too mean.
So the victim wanted to break up with her? Are you saying that Mr. Swallows also wanted to break up with you?
Well, you see...
Cruel thing to ask this lovely young lady like this. By the way, I've never once considered leaving my wife. He's never turned off that computer. Oh, God!
No one cares, Mr. Payne.
She didn't deny it. That must mean... Doug Swallow must have seen through her little act. He must have gotten a glimpse of her true nature.
Listen to me, Mia. That woman has the judge in the palm of her hand, you see. So the only way to discredit her is to find a contradiction in her testimony.
Okay, so let's go back.
Right
Okay.
there.
So we're doing this?
Yep. This is the real reason she came to the courthouse.
Oh, right.
Miss
She was being
Hawthorne.
questioned.
Yep. Miss Hawthorne, you weren't here because you were researching because of your research paper, were you? Didn't you actually come here for a much more important reason? What is the meaning of that cocky smile on your face, Miss Faye? 8 months ago, right here in this very courthouse, there was another tragedy. Another tragedy?
Do you mean the incident in which the attorney was poisoned?
I love how the judge remembers everything that happened in the past.
He's good at that. I'll give him that.
The name of the suspect is, in that incident is listed here in this report. And that name is Dahlia Hawthorne. What?
Dahlia Hawthorne!
Yes, the sweetie pie of everyone's eye, Miss Dahlia Hawthorne. She was the prime suspect in a criminal case just 8 months ago.
Order, order, order! This is unbelievable. It's true then. The loveliest rose in the...
Okay.
Hey, that's not fair! You can't slander my witness with an unrelated case! Winston Payne will not allow it!
Mr. Prosecutor, I believe I was speaking.
Pardon me? Go redhead!
It's true about that. 8 months ago. The police expressed some interest in me.
Express some interest, huh?
Mr. Judge, sir, I know I'm under oath, so I'll tell you the absolute truth. I did not commit the crime that occurred during that incident 8 months ago.
I see.
Okay, I've tied the two crimes together. Now I've just got to stay on the offensive.
Well done, Mia. Oh, you've really lit a fire in my heart and buttocks. I can hardly tell which is more inflamed, my spirit or my hemorrhoids. Where is my goddamn preparation H?
I met the lawyer who was poisoned to discuss something in the cafeteria that day. I left my seat for just a moment, and that's when it happened. From what I heard, it was liquid poison that is lethal at just 2 teaspoons. Not only that, I heard it was a very special kind of poison. So you see, I'm innocent. I wouldn't even know where to get poison like that.
So that's what happened here 8 months ago.
You have heard from the witness's testimony. She had nothing to do with it. I think the defense is just about out of tricks. I'm terribly sorry, Mr. Payne. But I'm afraid the defense has many more tricks up its sleeve today. And I'll be sure to show them to you before the end of this cross-examination. What the? Why does the defense suddenly feel stronger?
Ah, Mia, you're glowing with true lawyer's aura, my dear. That proud posture and self-confidence, absolutely smashing!
What were you talking about? What were you talking about with the defense attorney?
Well, I'm sorry, but that's confidential.
According to the report, you were there being interviewed regarding another case.
The lawyer that was killed. He said he wanted to talk about an incident I was caught up in when I was younger.
Why don't you tell us about what that incident was? Has absolutely nothing to do, nothing at all to do with this case.
Objection sustained. The defense's question is stricken from the record.
You get involved in a lot of incidents, don't you, Miss Hawthorne?
Well, I guess I was just born under a bad sign.
Don't worry, Dolly. I'll protect you.
You heard that, man. Now that is true love, young lady. Wait, aren't I supposed to hold him in contempt of court? Ah, whatever.
Oh, Feeny, please.
Those two really are making me ill, albeit for decidedly different reasons.
Left my seat for just a moment, and that's when it happened.
How long were you gone?
I've already answered all these questions for the police. But if you must know, maybe 10 or 20 minutes.
Where were you during that stretch of time? Using the toilet?
Okay. What are you saying, Miss Faye? Toilet?
My perfect little dolly doesn't poop!
Phoenix. Phoenix.
Oh, the College Phoenix makes me cringe so hard. You heard the defendant, Miss Faye. Better luck next time.
Oh, Fanny, please.
I've already looked into this whole matter. This line of questioning is nothing but a waste of the court's time.
Objection sustained. Miss Hawthorne, please continue with your testimony.
From what I heard, it was a lethal liquid poison.
How much liquid is about how much liquid is 2 teaspoons?
Well, let me see. My bottle of eye drops says 1/2 fluid ounce, which is equal to 3 teaspoons.
So only
it's
2
about
drops?
Yeah. So it's about 2/3 of that.
The poison was found in the lawyer's mug of coffee. It must have been after I left the table. Someone must have quietly slipped it in there.
Not only that, I heard it was a very special kind of poison.
A special kind of poison? How so?
Well, I heard that it's almost impossible to detect.
Oh? And where would something like that come from?
I'm sorry. All I know is what I overheard the policemen saying. They said something about using advanced chemical process.
Huh. Well, that's the slightest bit odd.
Chemical processes. Well, that's quite impressive. Most impressive.
My question is, how did the criminal get something like that? I wouldn't even know where to get a poison like that.
Well... Okay, so do we have something that it
We
could
do
be.
actually have information.
I mean, yeah, it could technically
Think
be that.
about it. How can she get that poison?
The college, obviously. So I got this picture.
Who's her connection?
No way.
He's pharmacology.
Jeez. All right.
You wouldn't know how to get that kind of poison? I don't believe you.
What?
In fact, you had easy access to that kind of poison, didn't you? At your boyfriend's lab.
Boyfriend? You mean the victim Doug Swallow?
That's right. Up until 8 months ago, Miss Hawthorne was dating Mr. Swallow. And if you'll recall, Mr. Swallow was a pharmacology student at Ivy University. Pharmacology? His laboratory contained highly advanced chemistry equipment. In fact, without such equipment, the culprit could have never obtained such a rare and special poison. Well, Miss Hawthorne, it seems you have access to such a poison after all. And then, it was a matter of slipping it into the victim's coffee when he wasn't looking. The only person who could have done that was the one sitting at his very table. You.
No!
Order, order, order! Could it be?
Everybody here!
May I say something, Miss Madam Faye?
What is it, Miss Hawthorne?
The amount of poison in the coffee was 2 teaspoons, correct? In order to carry that much liquid, you would need some kind of container.
Well, yes, that's true.
I was searched immediately after the incident took place.
True! In fact, the entire courthouse was turned upside down!
But They didn't find a suspicious container anywhere, did they?
He's right. They even mentioned that in the report. Well, you could have easily got rid of something that small.
Excuse me, madam, but this is a court of law. If you're saying I threw the poison container away, I think you need to show some kind of proof.
Proof? She got me good with that.
Provide some evidence or I'll have to disallow this line of questioning, Miss Faye. Unless we can come up with some evidence, we're going to lose this lead!
Police conducted a full-body search of Delilah and of the entire courthouse.
Wait a minute. It couldn't
container
be.
holding the poison disappeared right after the crime occurred.
If you're going to accuse the young lady of committing the murder, then where is the container the poison was carried in? What happened to it?
Son of a bitch!
You were forced to get rid of the container in a hurry, weren't you? And that's why you passed it on to someone who had nothing to do with the case. Someone that you knew wouldn't be searched.
Who is this person?
Mr. Phoenix Wright, of course. So the defendant was this witness's accomplice? Of course not. She gave the poison to him, disguised as a present.
Oh!
What? But that's...
That's a charming little necklace. Is this a little bottle? It's really quite cute. So what about it? What does it mean, Miss Faye?
The day the witness met and fell for Mr. Phoenix Wright was 8 months ago. August 27th, the very same day as the poisoning incident. Under the pretense of love, the witness gave my client a present. All for the purpose of hiding the one piece of evidence that could give her away.
What? Are you saying there's a deadly poison in here?
No, there's no longer any poison in that bottle. However, I'm certain if the crime lab were to analyze it, they would find trace amounts.
Order! Order in the court!
Shut up, Phoenix! On behalf of Dolly, I object!
Right, control yourself!
I won't let you bully her like this!
Mr. Wright, I thought I told you to stay in your seat.
Mr. Wright, why? Why are you going through so much trouble to protect her?
Why? Because I'm madly in love with her!
Madly in love. I haven't heard anyone say that in a long time.
Mr. Wright, have you ever thought about this? Why exactly would a woman like Dahlia Hawthorne want to date you anyway?
Here we go. Get ready to crush Phoenix's spirits.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess she must be madly in love with me too.
Mr. Wright, please, open your eyes. At this point in the trial, I think it should be obvious to everyone. The real reason Dahlia Hawthorne is dating you is...
Because of the necklace or to keep you quiet? I mean,
because of the necklace. She wants it back.
Oh, she wanted it back. Oh, that's
Remember, she
right.
constantly...
Phoenix said like she kept asking for it back.
Dahlia Hawthorne was not, and is not madly in love with you. The only thing she's after is the bottle necklace you love to wear around your neck.
My necklace?
Back there in the waiting room. You said it yourself.
Yeah, but she's so shy. Every time I see her, she always says the same thing to me. Please give it back now.
What a strange girl, asking for a present back like that.
Dahlia Hawthorne, that necklace is irrefutable evidence of her crime. That's why she absolutely had to get it back.
You're lying!
But you never gave it back to her.
And to make things worse for her.
To make things worse for her, you insisted on showing it to everyone you met.
Oh.
That's why she
Wanted to frame him for murder. I don't believe you. No! That's a lie!
Mia, are you alright?
Bailiff, hurry, after him!
He ran out of the courtroom crying. Wow.
Mia, are you all right?
Yes, I think so.
Boy, he went completely insane!
Where's Mr. Wright?
It looks like the bailiff caught him, so he should be back soon enough.
Thank goodness. Oh no!
What is it?
The bottle necklace! Miss Hawthorne's present! It's gone!
Oh, he snatched it from her?
What? Well, that's terrible!
Sir Wright must have grabbed it when he slammed into me.
Foolish boy! That's the only thing that could have saved him! What in blazes are we supposed to do now? Mr. Wright, this sort of behavior is unprecedented in the history of this court.
I'm sorry.
Hey, your apology is not enough! Mr. Wright, what did you do with the bottle necklace?
Forgive me. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Just give back the necklace.
What? I ate it.
You what?
You ate it?
It was too big to swallow, so I had to chew it into little bits first, but yeah. Okay, there's no fucking way in hell you did that.
He ate it.
Ah!
What the?
What is he doing now?
Your Honor, you've got to stop the trial. Mr. Wright, are you feeling okay? Does your stomach hurt? That bottle you swallowed may have had some poison left in it. It seems the defendant has proven the prosecution's case for us. Clearly, that bottle did not contain a deadly poison. How could you be so sure? I think that's obvious. As you can see, the defendant is still very much alive. As for the poison, more like a fledgling defense attorney's overactive imagination.
So it would seem.
No, there must be some mistake. The bottle must not have had any poison left in it. Either that or the poison must have lost its potency. There. It's all right, rookie. Trusting your client is the most noble thing a defense attorney can do. And it's heartwarming to see that you have placed this much faith in Mr. Wright. That that's how it is for us on the prosecution side too. For example, I will trust the witness, Miss Hawthorne, with my life.
For a different reason, but whatever.
Which is why I can state that your assessment of her is completely wrong.
That's enough. Unfortunately, Miss Faye, I cannot accept your explanation of the events.
Why?
This may be impossible for a beginner like you to understand. But in a court of law, evidence is everything.
Even after I proved this so much, is she going to get away with everything?
Well, now that suspicion surrounding Miss Hawthorne has been cleared up, I would like to proceed with the trial.
Phoenix?
Mr. Wright!
I'm sorry, Miss Faye. It totally slipped my mind. I'm really, really sorry. I know you believed in me, and I feel like I really let you down.
Mr. Wright, what are you trying to say?
There's something I forgot to tell you.
What is it?
That day I met Doug Swallow.
That girl. You shouldn't see her anymore.
Hey, it's none of your business.
I'm telling you for your sake, if you continue to see her, it's going to be bad news.
You're lying!
Just listen to me. There's something you need to know about that girl. Last night, someone stole some poison from our lab.
Poison?
The same thing happened 8 months ago. A drug sample was stolen. She claimed she came to the lab that time too. Could only have been her. That girl is a thief.
Stop it! Don't talk about her like that!
Is it true? Did he really say that? Ridiculous!
There's one more thing. After I pushed him that day, I got worried and came back to have a look. And she was there. Dolly was right there. She was crouched down next to him.
What?
She told me not to ever tell anyone about it, but I'm sorry, Dolly.
Your Honor! This is... The defendant is...
Miss Faye, you tell them! Dolly didn't do it! She's innocent!
Dahlia stole poison 8 months ago too. Huh. So if you put that together with Mr. Wright's testimony, then there's only one possible conclusion. The defense believes that Miss Dahlia Hawthorne stole some poison on the night before she killed Delegate Swallow.
The night before.
Naturally, her motive for stealing it was to kill someone.
Miss Faye.
If you're so certain of your theory, then let me ask you this.
Mia, this is your last chance. Think carefully now. There's something that she desperately wanted to get back. Therefore...
Exactly who was Miss Dahlia Hartworth planning to kill?
Phoenix, obviously.
Mm-hmm. There was one person that was standing squarely in Miss Dahlia Hawthorne's way. And that person was... Mr. Phoenix Wright.
Me?
Stress! After all, it was Doug Swallow that was murdered! Well, it's true that that's how things worked out. But Let's remember that Mr. Swallow died from electrocution, not poison. The person that Miss Hawthorne was planning to poison was, in fact, you, Phoenix Wright. There's no one else that it could be.
But how can that be? I thought Mr. Wright and Miss Hawthorne were in love.
A lie.
Poor Mr. Wright. This must be killing him. Hang in there. I'll bring her to justice. I swear it. As I said before, the only thing Miss Hawthorne truly cared about was the one piece of evidence linking her to that incident 8 months ago. That's right. The bottle necklace. That's all she cared about.
But even so, why? Why would she go so far as to murder him?
8 months ago, just after the fall of that attorney in the basement cafeteria, Dahlia Hawthorne could think of only one thing. How to get rid of this bottle necklace as quickly as possible.
No, it can't be.
It was a pretty good move that she made, too. The evidence was missing for a long time. But there was just one big problem. Although she got him to hide the evidence, Mr. Wright refused to return it to her. To him, the tiny little bottle was a cherished treasure. He even showed it to everyone he met.
You mean that's why she tried to kill Mr. Wright?
Correct, Your Honor. It was to retrieve that piece of evidence.
That can't be true! Phoenix, you sissy. Feeny, what a joke you are.
Oh.
Honestly, how can any woman ever count on you for anything? I even told you time and time again to keep your trap shut about me and that necklace. You disgust me.
Miss Hawthorne.
It appears we're nearing the end of this trial.
Fine. I can tell you plan on making me into a criminal no matter what I say.
You are a criminal, Miss Hawthorne.
We'll see about that. But first, where is your evidence? It seems your sniveling little crybaby of a client has eaten the bottle as a snack.
Well,
Hey, old man, are you senile or something? Why don't you say something instead of sitting there with that dumb look on your face?
Miss Hawthorne, what's happened to you?
Huh. Are you really that shocked? Or do you prefer me? This way, Mr. Judge. With absolutely no proof, you treat a volunteer witness like she's a mass murderer. Well, I have nothing more to say. I'll be heading home now, if you don't mind.
But we're not finished.
Fine. Then ask this nasty old hag to finish up already.
it let her get away this time.
Stop, Mia! If you keep on pushing without any evidence, you could pay the ultimate price as a lawyer!
The ultimate price?
You'd be forced to take off your attorney's badge forever, I'm afraid.
No!
You'd better think it over carefully, Miss Faye. Or should I say Miss Gray?
Well, Miss Faye, can you provide evidence that would establish her guilt once and for all?
Crap.
Mess up here. My career as a lawyer is over. There's one thing that can make sense here. But to be honest, at At this point, I don't have any evidence that's well-founded. Even so, I'd rather lose my attorney's badge than let her get away with murder. Your Honor, the defense would like to present proof. Impossible! You can't possibly!
Stupid woman.
It is the opinion of the court that there has already been enough discussion. Therefore, I will allow one piece of evidence to be presented.
Just one?
If you are unable to establish her guilt, then I'm afraid that a very harsh verdict will immediately be handed down on Mr. Wright.
I understand, Your Honor.
I can just imagine the headline for tomorrow's newspaper. Up-and-coming lawyer plummets to earth before she gets the chance to soar.
He was planning to poison Mr. Wright. If that's the case, then the poison was probably in there.
Well then, Miss Faye, please present your evidence. Show this court the irrefutable proof that Miss Hawthorne was planning to poison Mr. Wright.
Could it be? Poisoned his pills? Well, I'm
If you think so, present it. Here it is, Your Honor. The evidence that will prove her guilt once and for all.
Cold Killer X, Phoenix Wright's beloved cold medicine.
Does our rookie defense attorney have a bit of a cold? If I did, I still wouldn't take this cold medicine. After all, it's been poisoned. Here's the corner themed.
What?
Remember what the defendant said in his testimony.
But I lost my bottle of it around lunchtime on the day of the accident. I always eat with Dolly, just the two of us.
He was the one who took his bottle of Cold Killer X. Then she poisoned it, knowing that Mr. Wright was going to take some. Now you're really grasping at straws! After all, it was the victim, Doug Swallow, that was holding the medicine! I would like the court to recall the crime that happened here 8 months ago. Where did Miss Hawthorne hide the evidence?
With Phoenix.
Huh? What are you talking about?
8 months ago, the poison was hidden in her bottle necklace, which she then gave to someone else for safekeeping. Someone she had accidentally ran into the reading room. My client, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Yes, that's right. She did the same thing this time as well. After shoving the victim, Mr. Phoenix Wright left the scene of the crime. That is when the murderer, Dahlia Hawthorne, appeared. With her, she was carrying the poisoned bottle of Cold Killer X. This, of course, was so she could carry out her plan to murder Mr. Wright.
I believe she did testify that she was going to meet with the defendant.
Yes, and she heard and saw everything that happened at the scene of the crime, including what the defendant and victim were arguing about, and the cut electrical cable. That's when she realized, I can't allow Doug and Swallow to live. She used the severed electrical cable to silence him forever. Unfortunately for her, this is when the problem occurred. Mr. Wright, who she thought had left the scene, came back to check on the victim. On top of that, because of the power outage, some students showed up as well. It hardly any wonder that she was, as she put it, in a state of panic. Recall that she was carrying that bottle of poisoned cold medicine. You must have thought, what if they searched me like they did 8 months ago? 8 months ago? Yes, she disposed of the evidence exactly the same way she did back then. She had someone else hold it. In this case, Doug Swallow.
Damn.
Oh, come on now, everyone. Surely you aren't fooled, are you? This stupid woman, she's nothing but a filthy, stinking liar. Right, Mr. Prosecutor?
It's exactly right! It's just pure desperation! Wonder which one of us is the desperate one. So, Miss Hawthorne. This cold medicine. I wonder if you wouldn't mind taking some.
Huh?
Well, Mr. Wright ate your necklace of yours, right? Now it's your turn to prove your innocence. What do you say? I'm just a filthy, stinking liar. Then there's no need to worry. So come on, show us. I dare you to take some of this medicine right now.
Mia Fey! Mia Fey! Oh, shit. Do you think you've won? Well, do you, Mia Fey? That's just fine. For the time being, victory is yours.
For the time being.
Well, I have a very long memory, you know. You and I will meet again. I'm certain of it. Well then, Mr. Judge, I'll see you later too, okay?
Huh? Why? Yes.
I'm going to spend a little quality time with the men in blue now. I wish you all the best.
Well. Huh.
Phew. It's finally all over. I refuse to accept this! The defense hasn't shown a scrap of evidence to support their outrageous claim!
But even so, your witness seems to have accepted it.
I don't care! I'm Winston Payne! And I don't believe one word that this rookie lawyer has said! Well then, Mr. Payne, let me ask you this. Yes? Would you care to try some of this cold medicine? What? Just a little earlier, I could have sworn you said... There, it's all right, rookie. For example, I would trust the witness, Miss Hawthorne, with my very life. So, if she's so trustworthy, then I'm sure couldn't possibly be any poison in here, right? Well, you see, yes. And here comes the backpedal. Come on now, rookie killer. Show this rookie how it's done. How much trust do you really have for this woman? And are you willing to bet your life on it?
I called it.
Mr. Payne? About Miss Delilah Hawthorne?
Dahlia.
Your Honor, I'll file papers for her immediate arrest.
Tragic, but not surprising. I knew there was something suspicious about her from the very beginning.
Why? Just admit you're wrong.
By the way, Miss Faye,
Yes, Your Honor?
was it just me, or did you and Miss Dahlia Hawthorne seem to know each other?
Your Honor, whether we did or not has no bearing in this case.
Very well. Mr. Payne,
Can't be happening! It's a nightmare! It's like losing my daughter!
it appears Mr. Payne has lost his spirit along with his hair. Does the defendant have anything further to say?
It can't be true. My dear Dolly!
Very well then. I believe I am ready to pass judgment and bring this trial to an end. The court finds the defendant, Phoenix Wright, not guilty.
Woo! All right, Phoenix!
This court is adjourned.
April 11th, 3:16 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby, number 3.
Mia, you were wonderful in there!
Thank you for everything, Mr. Grossberg.
During the verdict, I thought my hemorrhoids were going to explode like Mount Vesuvius!
We really don't need that visual analogy.
Mr. Grossberg, do you, maybe think you could stop talking about them?
Oh, that's rather rude. Anyway, this case really made me think. What does it really mean to have a relationship of mutual trust with the client? Perhaps it is we veteran lawyers who have lost sight of this.
Oh, Mr. Wright! Congratulations!
Thanks. You know, I was thinking.
Go on.
The dolly that I saw up there on the witness stand, I don't think that was really her.
What?
Yeah, the dolly I know could never have said those kind of terrible things. Maybe she was like, I don't know, a fake or something?
Boy, this poor kid still hasn't got a clue. You need to forget about her, Mr. Wright, for your own sake.
Yeah, you're right. That's probably for the best.
Also, you need to relax a bit more. Try to grow up a little.
But out of all my friends, everyone says I'm the most grown up.
Then you need some new friends.
What kind of company does this guy keep?
Larry Butts.
Yeah, that's where the problem lies.
Yep.
Right now, I'm studying to become a lawyer myself.
That's what you keep saying. But I thought you were in the art department.
Well, yeah, I am. But there's a friend that I desperately want to help. And if I hurry, then I should be able to save him in time.
I see.
Say, Miss Faye, a lawyer is someone who can help people when they're in trouble, right?
Mr. Wright, I'm still new to this myself. But I think that's exactly what a lawyer is.
Okay, I'm going to do it. I'll study my butt off. I'll become a lawyer for sure. I hope we see each other again someday. Maybe even in court. Little did he know. It's been 5 years since I was acquitted of all charges. I became a lawyer like I planned, and managed to save my friend. But Mia has passed on to a better place. For me, this trial brings up a lot of painful memories. But it also brings up some very precious ones. And memories that I thought would never rise to the surface again. Mia is gone now. But even so, I can hear her in my mind.
No, she probably just possessed you.
Phoenix, no matter what, always believe in your clients. In a court of law, your greatest weapon is your belief.
5 long years. Something has happened that made me think back to her words of wisdom. But that is a story for another day.
Turnabout memories. The end.
Wow.
The stolen turnabout.
Achievement unlocked. Turnabout memories.
This is like it's constantly rated in like the top like 5 of of all the trilogy. The stolen turnabout is.
This is like one of the highest rated cases.
This is like everyone agrees upon as this being like the best, one of the better ones.
All right. Well, let's see. We wouldn't be able to get very far into it now, so let's save it for next time.
Sounds like a plan. And next time, Friday works for me next time.
All right, sweet. Well, guys, we will see you next week on Friday. Until then.
Yep. See you guys.